There's always something to be said about the little details of video games. Whether it's the hidden memorabilia and extra dialogue moments in The Last of Us or the Uncharted series.
A book just fell on my head. I only have myself to blame. Or wait, I said it wrong. Hold on, let me read it again.
Or pedestrians getting mad if you look at them for too long in GTA 5.
What's up, man?
Well, I just got my 3rd-degree black belt, so I'm really excited to hurt somebody.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Or simply just taking a glance at your watch when you're playing Dying Light. All these little things add to that sense of immersion in whatever game you are playing. I believe that Biomutant will be like the GTAs and The Last of Us and the Dying Light when it comes to those little details that add to the overall experience, given that the creative director has a experienced background when it comes to designing games. Based off the gameplay and the trailers that we've seen, there's a lot of these hidden details that you have to pay a bit of close attention to really notice, and once you do, you'll be appreciative of why they're there, and I don't think you'll want them to go anywhere. So the first detail in Biomutant that I want to cover is the comic book font that we've seen. Now this comic book stuff pops up when you're either in action sequences or you're actually fighting people. Ironically, just this year I picked up on comic books. This same year as I picked up comic books, I picked up on the Biomutant hype, and now I'm seeing a glimpse of the comic book themes leading into Biomutant. In Biomutant, one of the first details that I picked up on was this comic book font, and so that's why I'm including it in number 1 in this list. Seeing phrases like boom, splat, squish, boing when you're doing certain things like fighting or jumping on those mushrooms that we've seen. These are subtle details that could have been left out of the game, but they make it all the more exciting to be in these sequences because you get those flashy colors on the screen and puts you in as a player to what you're playing. I even picked up on a detail that, depending on what you're doing, the comic book font will change. So if it's just hacking and slashing, you'll get a few variants for some simple terms like slash or whoosh or what have you, any onomatopoeia type of examples. Or if you're jumping on the mushrooms, a big red boing will pop out of the screen. If a big monster's coming at you, whoosh, it says on the screen as he runs towards you. Now, given Biomutant's plethora of new ideas, I'm not sure if I would even miss this feature if it wasn't there, but the fact that it's there and that you have this comic book font popping up, I don't want to see the game without it. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to these little details, and that is a sheer reason beyond the beautiful graphics and the cool little characters and the multiple fighting styles. Beyond those things, it's these finer details that keep me engaged to the game and make me appreciate how much work the developers seem to have put into it. The next finer detail that we're going to jump into is bullet effects. So if you've ever been to a shooting range, played a game of Call of Duty, or seen an action flick, you will have noticed there are tons of little additives to shooting the gun. The loud cracking sounds, the little fire that comes out of the end of the barrel, smoke coming out of the end of the barrel. In Biomutant, this is no different. In certain instances, you'll see the bullet casings flying out of your pistol as you're doing a mid-air attack on an enemy. And depending on the type of bullet that you're using, those bullet casings will synchronize to that. So if it was an electric shock, the electric bullet casing is going to be flying out of the gun, leaving remnants of electricity all over the floor. In some of our favorite franchises like Halo, Borderlands, or Call of Duty, this bullet effects detail was played in different sequences. Like in Borderlands, for example, you're shooting an electric gun or you're shooting a oozing radioactive gun or you're shooting a fire weapon, you're getting fire blasting out of the barrel of the weapon. And in Biomutant, again, this is no different. Whether you're shooting at an enemy or the enemy shooting back at you, pay close attention to the weapon that they're using. Could have been left out of the game, but they lead to a more dull experience visually. And what a Biomutant seems to be offering is a high tier of visual additives to bring you closer to what you're playing. The last finer detail I'm going to touch up on is character creation. And we've heard a lot about this one before because we know, or if you haven't known, when you morph your character stats in Biomutant, whether it's strength, vitality, intellect, charisma, things like that, your character's body shape changes along with it. Again, this is an example of something that they didn't have to do when making this game, but they ended up doing, turning out to be a super cool detail everyone's picked up on and says, whoa, like, this is awesome. This is a reason why I want to build my character. This is maybe a reason why I want to have two characters, because I know that when I load up my big brawly guy, he's ready for strength. When I load up my guy who has a massive head, he's wise and he's got his intellect and he's going to be doing telekinesis. Your Biomutant can have long, shaggy fur, a nice mid-range of fur, or like a buzz cut of fur. Along with the length, feel free to change the color pattern, the pattern color. All these different things will be available to you in the character creator, and I guarantee will keep you engaged all the more beyond the cool areas you're exploring or the plethora of weapons, different things like that. I hope that the details I brought to you about the bullet casings, the body type, or the comic book pop-ups when you're in action are little details that you either didn't notice or that you noticed, but we're glad to hear more about more people picking up on them. There's certainly things that I noticed, and overall, this game seems to be filled with a lot of little details that are going to add to the big picture. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of our 3 little details series. If you do, let me know in the comments. If you don't, let me know in the comments, or leaving a like or dislike. If you really enjoyed, subscribe. All those little things help me and push me to keep going. This has been c4rsonlee, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday.